He was pouring coffee on his cabin porch when a golf cart rolled up like it owned the dirt road. A woman in a pink visor and tight fake smile stepped out holding a clipboard like it was a weapon. "This is a final warning," she said, without even a good morning. "Your dock is unapproved. The HOA board voted and it must be removed by Friday or you'll be fined daily." Adam didn't say a word. He just stared at her, eyes calm, like he'd seen this movie before. She flipped a page dramatically. "And your bonfires are in violation. No open flames after 8 p.m. Also, that American flag hanging from your roof, it's not within uniform code." His grip on the mug tightened, but he stayed still. The woman smirked, mistaking silence for fear. "This neighborhood has rules. Just because your granddaddy built this place doesn't mean you're above them." He took a breath and said, "You done?" She blinked. "Excuse me?" He stepped forward. "You've been trespassing on my land for 2 months straight, Karen." Her eyes widened. He'd never said her name before, but she knew he knew. "You call it a neighborhood. I call it what it is. A bunch of newcomers trying to pretend they own a lake they don't even understand." She laughed nervously. "This is HOA protected community property, sir. You should have read the welcome packet." He turned, went inside, and came back with a thick folder, thicker than hers. He dropped it on the table with a thud. "This deed is from 1972. My grandfather bought the lake, the shoreline, and everything, 30 feet around it. Your board has been fining people for fishing in water that doesn't belong to them." She went quiet. He leaned closer. "You're not on HOA land, Karen. You're on mine." Her jaw clenched. She muttered something about calling a meeting, calling the county, calling legal. He just smiled. "Call whoever you want. I've already called the county last week. You're about to have a real problem. Because I just changed the access rights." He stepped off the porch, pointed toward the trail leading down to the water. "Effective yesterday, public dock use is revoked. No boats, no fishing, no lake access. Not unless you've got my signature." Karen's face turned pale. "You can't do that." "I just did." The line that went viral later. "It came when," she screamed, "you don't get to ban the entire HOA from the lake." And he simply replied, "I didn't ban the HOA, Karen. I banned trespassers." By Monday morning, the signs were up. Bold red letters nailed to thick wooden stakes. "Private property. No lake access without written consent." Karen tore one down herself, huffing and muttering as neighbors peeked from their windows. By noon, 3 others had popped up in its place, each one higher and clearer. That evening, HOA members showed up at Adam's cabin, 7 deep, dressed like they were going to court, not a lakeside cabin. Karen stood in front, arms crossed, trying to hold authority in her voice. "We're here to resolve this peacefully," she said, like she hadn't threatened him 2 days ago. Adam opened the door slow, like he already knew the script. "You brought backup?" he asked, eyes sweeping over the crowd. A man stepped forward, slicked hair, cheap suit. "I'm Gregory, HOA legal advisor." Adam raised an eyebrow. "Legal advisor? You mean your cousin who passed the bar last year and failed his first case?" Gregory's face twitched. Karen jumped in. "We just want to know how you can claim ownership of a public water body. That lake belongs to the HOA community." Adam turned, picked up a dusty binder from his table, and handed it to the nearest guy in the group. "Page 17, county records. I own the lake. It's on file. You've been charging people to use something that doesn't belong to you." Karen reached for it, but the man held it away from her. "That can't be right," she said, trying to sound sure, but her voice cracked. "Then file a claim," Adam said, cool as ever. "But I'd suggest you call the sheriff first, might save you some money." Suddenly, one of the HOA members whispered, "Wait, is this why the dock permits were never processed? The applications kept bouncing back." Karen spun around. "That's not true." But everyone was looking at her now, doubts creeping, in trust cracking. He's manipulating you, she snapped. This is exactly why we need rules. So people like him don't ruin the community. Adam stepped out onto the porch and let the screen door shut behind him. People like me? He asked, voice steady. My family built this place. You moved in a year ago and started acting like you owned it. You threatened me. You fined veterans. You even told a kid he couldn't fish off the dock because his shirt was too baggy. The group was silent now. Karen's mouth opened, but no words came. Then, from down the road, a black SUV pulled up fast. Out stepped a uniformed officer, tall, confident, and walking straight toward Adam. Karen's face lit up. Officer, thank God, he's illegally blocking lake access and threatening residents. But the officer didn't stop at her. He walked right past and gave Adam a firm handshake. Hey, Major, he said, got your call. We confirmed the deed. County clerk sending a full notice to the HOA office this week. Then he turned to Karen. You've been handing out fines on land that's not yours. That's called fraud. Her face went pale. Wait, you're saying he really owns it? Adam just looked at her and said, next time you threaten someone, make sure they didn't serve with the guy who runs property enforcement in 3 counties. Karen didn't show up the next morning, but her little army did. 3 board members, including Gregory, stood at the lake trail with clipboards, snapping photos of the new signs and muttering legal terms like it would scare someone. Adam watched from his porch, calm as ever, coffee in hand. Then his phone buzzed. It was a message from his neighbor, Daryl. Karen's planning something. Just heard her brag she's got backup coming to make him fold. By noon, 2 unmarked black cars pulled up. Out stepped 2 men in tactical-style vests, sunglasses on, radios clipped to their shoulders. Karen followed behind, arms swinging, like she just hired the FBI. You're done, she yelled from the gravel road. This is a federal safety violation now. Interfering with community access to emergency water sources is a crime. Adam didn't even flinch. He walked to the end of the dock, let the breeze hit him, then turned. And impersonating federal agents is a felony, he called out. The 2 men stopped walking. One of them glanced at Karen. Ma'am, you said this was your property dispute. Karen looked confused. It is. I told you he's blocking public use. That's illegal. The taller man stepped forward and said, We're not code enforcement, ma'am. We're private security. You hired us. Adam smiled. So, no badges, no warrants, just a woman with a grudge and a checkbook. Karen's voice cracked. He's threatening us with weapons. Adam raised his hands, empty. You're the one who brought fake lawmen to my property. Gregory rushed in, trying to fix it all. Let's de-escalate, okay? No need for this to become public. But Adam was already holding up his phone. Too late. You're already live. The HOA board turned pale as they realized a drone was hovering just above, red light blinking. Adam nodded toward it. People love HOA stories, especially when they end with exposure. Karen started yelling at the security guys, telling them to do something. One of them just shook his head. This isn't what we signed up for. We're out. They left. And then came the sound. A truck engine from the distance, deep, low, familiar. A beat-up Chevy rolled up with a rusted toolbox in the back and a license plate that read USMC 72. Out stepped a gray-haired man in a ball cap and, denim slow but steady. Adam raised a hand. Uncle Mike. The man looked around, nodded, then said loud enough for everyone to hear, I fought for this country. I'll be damned if someone in a tennis skirt tells my nephew he can't stand. On his own land. No one moved, not even Karen. And that was when Adam said quietly, We're just getting started. The next few days were quiet, but the kind of quiet that made your skin itch. Karen had vanished from the lake trail, but her claws were still working behind the scenes. A notice showed up in Adam's mailbox, folded wrong, typed in Comic Sans like a joke, but stamped with the HOA seal. Immediate cease and desist. Unauthorized use of private water body. Adam laughed when he read it. Now they're calling it their lake, he muttered. But the kicker? The letter claimed he was tampering with wildlife zones by putting up a picnic bench. That night, Adam didn't sleep. He stayed up watching the cameras, 8 new ones he'd installed around the dock and driveway. Just after 3 a.m., headlights cut through the trees. A shadow moved near the dock. Someone was yanking his new sign out of the ground. The camera caught everything, face clear, hoodie down, and the license plate as the truck backed up. Gregory. By sunrise, the video was already sent to the sheriff, to the county clerk, and to the HOA Facebook group that Adam knew Karen secretly moderated under the name Lakeside Mama. Within hours, it had over 200 comments. The community was turning. One woman wrote, "I used to believe in the HOA. Now I'm wondering who else they've bullied." Another posted, "Wait, if he owns the lake, have we all been paying illegal fees?" That afternoon, Adam got a knock on his door. It was Rosa, a young single mom who lived 2 cabins down. Her voice was shaking. "I just wanted to say thank you. Karen told me I had to paint my shutters because they were too dark for the community's tone. I couldn't afford it. Then she fined me. You standing up, it means something." Adam nodded. "We don't let bullies run free out here." Then Rosa glanced behind her and whispered, "Karen's planning something. She's mad. Says she's going above county now. Said you'd be out by the weekend." Adam looked at her, calm, but sharp. "Let her try. The more she pushes and the more I'll expose." Rosa hesitated. "You said your uncle fought in a war. What about you?" Adam looked her dead in the eyes and said, "I didn't just serve. I taught them how to fly." 2 days later, something changed in the air. Not the weather, but the way people looked at Adam when they passed by. Some waved, some nodded. A few even whispered, like he was some sort of quiet legend now. The video of Gregory ripping the sign had gone viral in the HOA world. People from other states were commenting, "Classic Karen power trip. This man deserves a medal. Buy the whole damn lake and build a wall around it." And then Karen snapped. It was Saturday morning when a white SUV screeched onto the gravel near Adam's dock. She jumped out holding a manila envelope like it was a bomb. "This is a federal notice," she screamed. "You're being evicted from this area under the Clean Water Protection Act." Adam didn't move. "Let me guess. You printed that at home?" Karen shoved it toward him. "This lake belongs to the community. You can't gate off what belongs to all of us." Adam's eyes narrowed. "I bought this land with combat pay while you were yelling at baristas about soy milk. The only thing you own is a voice that's 2 octaves too loud." Karen's face turned red. "That's it. I have friends in D.C. This isn't over." Adam's voice dropped. Calm. Icy. "You're right. It's not." He turned, pulled out his phone, and tapped one button. Within seconds, a sound broke through the air. Deep, fast, and unmistakable. Everyone around looked up. A black dot appeared in the sky. It grew louder, closer. Then, a Rafale fighter jet cut across the clouds, low and sharp, trailing sound like a thunderclap. It flew once over the lake, tipped slightly in a salute, then vanished into the horizon. Karen dropped the envelope. Everyone stood frozen. Rosa covered her mouth. Gregory was already backing away toward his car. Adam just stood there, cool as ever. "You flew that jet?" Karen whispered like she already knew the answer. Adam stared at her. "They told my wife to take off her uniform once too. She didn't yell. She didn't argue. She flew that Rafale over their camp. Just like that." Nobody said a word, and then Adam added, "You picked the wrong family." Karen vanished after the jet flyover, but only for a day. The next morning, the sheriff showed up at Adam's place looking uncomfortable. He scratched the back of his neck and said, "Got a call from a federal agency, or at least someone, pretending to be one." Adam raised an eyebrow. "Let me guess, Clean Water Task Force?" The sheriff nodded. Said they had reports of illegal lake fencing, possible pollution, even drone surveillance. Adam held up his phone and played the voice recording. Karen, clearly unaware she was being recorded, had left a voicemail for Gregory. I filed it under the clean water thing. Doesn't matter if it's real, it'll scare him. And that fence, say it's disturbing wildlife, they'll believe it if we sound official. The sheriff whistled. This is gold. You want to press charges? Not yet, Adam said. She'll hang herself if we give her the rope. That evening, Adam invited a few neighbors over. Rosa came with her son. A couple who lived across the lake brought snacks. They sat around the dock, fire pit glowing, and for the first time, people started sharing stories. Stories of fake fines, of Karen threatening to revoke mailbox privileges, of HOA dues mysteriously doubling. One older man, Joe, who'd lived there for 20 years, finally spoke. She told me she could ban me from the lake, said my boat was too old for community standards. Adam asked, did she ever prove she owned the lake? Joe shook his head. No one ever asked. Adam stood up. She doesn't, not a square inch. He reached into a folder and pulled out a certified document. This is the original deed. My grandfather bought the land and the lake rights in 1964. This HOA was created in the 90s, and it was never legally granted access to this water, not once. People looked at each other. Joe said, then why have we been paying for 20 years? Adam said, because nobody ever told her no. A long pause. Then Rosa spoke. What now? Adam smiled. Now we stop being quiet. The next morning, Adam walked straight into the county records office with 2 boxes, one filled with legal documents proving his land and water rights, and the other filled with complaints from his neighbors. Rosa's letter was on top. It detailed how Karen threatened to report her to ICE if she didn't trim her bushes. Beneath it, a handwritten note from Joe explained how his boat was once chained by Karen for violating lake harmony. The clerk skimmed through the stack, eyes widening more with every page. Adam kept his tone steady. I'm requesting a full audit of HOA actions going back 10 years plus a motion to dissolve their lake access under fraudulent operation. The clerk looked up. You'll get your hearing. And this might make headlines. Adam didn't blink. That's the idea. Within a week, a formal notice was posted on the HOA board. All lake privileges suspended pending legal review. Karen lost it. She stormed into Adam's yard during dinner, camera in hand, live streaming herself yelling, "This man is stealing the lake. He's a liar, a bully, and probably a terrorist." Rosa, sitting nearby with her son, stood up. "That man gave my kid swimming lessons for free. You? You charged us $20 just to sit on the pier." Karen spun the phone toward her. "She doesn't even belong here." That's when the real twist dropped. From behind Adam's truck, a woman stepped forward. Military uniform, boots, calm walk. It was Adam's wife. She said, clear and steady, "You told me to take off this uniform in front of your committee. You said I wasn't the right face for a neighborhood event. So I did. And then I flew a Rafale jet over your HOA fundraiser. With clearance." Karen stumbled back. You're bluffing." Adam handed her a tablet. A paused video sat on screen. Aerial footage of the fundraiser, then a sharp cut to Karen yelling as a shadow of the jet crossed the field. "We had clearance from the Air Force. We filmed the whole thing." Karen dropped the phone. Adam looked at her and said the line that would go viral the next day. "You wanted to play boss, but we already beat real enemies, not board members, with clipboards." The courtroom was quiet when Karen walked in, shoulders hunched, makeup smudged, papers clutched like armor. Across the aisle, Adam sat calm, dressed in a simple shirt and jeans. No lawyer, just his wife beside him, in uniform. Rosa, Joe, and half the lake community sat behind them. The judge took one look at the evidence folder and raised an eyebrow. This HOA has filed over 190 citations in the last 2 years. Most of them unsigned, unverified, and clearly targeting specific families. She turned a page. And this is a copy of a fake cease and desist letter sent under a non-existent state agency. Karen mumbled something about just keeping order. The judge cut her off. Order? You impersonated officials. You restricted access to private property. You created your own security patrol and posted illegal signs. And then you falsified an environmental complaint using a federal database. Karen tried to speak. Adam's wife stood up and held up the footage from the drone, Karen planting her own fake warning signs the night before the sheriff visit. The judge sighed. I've seen enough. HOA rights to the lake are permanently revoked. Karen, you're under investigation for impersonating a government official, defamation, and fraud. You're banned from this board and ordered to stay 500 feet from the property line. A quiet cheer broke out in the back of the courtroom. That evening, as the sun set over the lake, Adam set up the old dock lights. Rosa brought lemonade. Joe played the guitar. The community that once hid behind curtains now laughed by the fire. His wife, sitting by the water, smiled. You didn't even need to fly the jet.